that, so now for something a little different. I'm lying in a ditch 12 miles outside of Roswell, New Mexico, and the storm that just kicked up out of nowhere is blowing like an unbelievable scientific documentary. There's dust filling my lungs, and I'm coughing uncontrollably. I'm on the phone, but no one can understand my pleas for help. What would you do if you were in a situation like that? How many of you out there today have found a circumstance in your life that you set yourself up for, that you were expecting to fail? I'm going to tell you, the only reason I'm on stage here today is because I'm a failure. Now, being open to fail allowed me to do something no one thought was possible, to inspire an entire community and potentially break a world record. Being okay to fail is the only way I know to see how far you can go. Now, let's take a step back to February of 2012. I'm about to make the most important decision of my life. It affects my family, my friends, my career, everything. 2 weeks earlier, I'd gotten an answer that I'd been seeking for over 7 years. Why I was having trouble signing my name, why my right leg was stiff, and why my right arm didn't flow naturally. Remarkably, the decision was really easy for me. I made the decision to immediately tell everyone that I have Parkinson's disease, early onset, a rare neurological disease affecting 0.01% of the population. But now what? I'll tell you what, being open about my disease allowed me to find my passion, push my personal boundaries, and find positive outputs. It also allowed me to immediately begin competing, free to compete, really, in athletic competitions for the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Team Fox, which is important because, as I learned, exercise is the only thing that slows the progression in Parkinson's. So, over the next 5 years, I completed 10 marathons, had some pizza in Brooklyn, 9 triathlons, including a full Ironman. I formed a 60-person triathlon team, climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, completed the Dopey Challenge in Disney, and many more, all as fundraisers. I also started a 5-year study called PPMI to find biomarkers for Parkinson's disease. Now, this is a pretty invasive study. It involves DAT scans, spinal taps, and extensive blood draws. And I know I look pretty happy here. I'm going to be open with you guys again. When my wife had her wisdom teeth pulled, I almost passed out. So, as you can imagine, this wasn't easy for me. In 2016, I began planning an event that would allow me to connect and hopefully inspire people with Parkinson's in a way that would highlight the importance of exercise and in a manner in which my wonderful sister so eloquently described my efforts as ordinary people doing extraordinary things. That's my sister. I formed a board of directors, and we started a charitable organization called UnCorked Adventures. In our first event, I would walk across the United States in 46 days, trying to find someone organically each day who had a connection to Parkinson's disease. If we accomplished our object, I would break the world record for running across the US. But we had one very important rule. If we saw barbecue, we had to eat. That is true, by the way. Let's fast forward to August 2017. I'm in the biodynamics lab at Armstrong State University. My body was digitized and analyzed. I'm here to optimize my gait for the walk. I'm excited, but it turns out the data is very concerning. My right foot only uplifts 4 degrees, where a normal person's would be 8 to 10. My trunk rotation is half of what's expected. And my right foot, with every step, is catching on the treadmill, making a chirping noise, just reminding everybody of this. So, my Olympic coach, the physical therapist, and the biodynamics professor stage an intervention. They tell me I can't do it. I'm not physically capable of it. Now, this isn't a casual conversation. This is serious. They say I need to bicycle a large portion of it. Life all comes down to a few moments, and for me, this was definitely one of them. The fear of failure is so powerful for everyone. What would you do when the world's foremost experts tell you you shouldn't do something? How would you respond? I asked myself one question: was I okay to fail? And I was, so I'm going to go for it, and I did, albeit on my own. So, being okay to fail allowed me to pursue my passion, but that doesn't guarantee success. So what does that look like? Let's fast forward a little bit further to December 2017. I'm in the Mississippi Sports Medicine Clinic, and I haven't turned on my data location services as I normally do every day because I don't want anyone to worry about me. The truth is, I'm in a lot of trouble. I was just featured on the Today Show, but I can barely walk. I have massive blisters on both of my feet. My left foot is so badly damaged I should be in the hospital, and my feet and legs are severely swollen. You can see it here on the right side of the screen. Now, I promise you guys, I'm not going to be seen wearing open-toed sandals at the pool this summer based on this. And remarkably, the team in Mississippi was able to give me the tools to keep going on this great adventure. And I'd love to tell you that I solved all my problems in Mississippi and never looked back. But the reality is, when you're pushing boundaries, you will be challenged. Life will throw everything at you, and you have to be prepared to persevere. Now, rewinding back to where we started this conversation, I climbed out of that ditch in New Mexico, and I walked the 12 miles into Roswell in the most horrendous windstorms you've ever seen. And this type of perseverance is critical throughout this entire journey to get me to the end. I had to overcome 5 inches of snow in Mississippi. I think there's one shovel in the entire state. Stress fractures, a foot infection, a damaged Achilles tendon. I had 16 dog attacks, an encounter with a bear. I had to cross a closed bridge over the Mississippi River, walk hundreds of miles on roads with no median. I lost my medication. I went off my meds for over a week. Don't tell my doctor, but I kept going. And remarkably, the people that I inspired became my inspiration and helped me push through these obstacles, any one of which could have caused me to quit. Here's an example of that inspiration. On the very first night, I happened into a McDonald's at 2:30 a.m. I was still walking. I was starving. I grabbed the door and it's locked. The store manager answers and she says, "Sorry, it's drive-through only." Okay. I explained to her why I didn't have a car. And she told me her story of a really difficult life and recent hard work leading to a promotion. It was an amazing story. Free food, free coffee, and a thank you of inspiration, and I was on my way. The next morning, a truck flies up in front of us. Guy gets out, and I see the night manager. She says she was so inspired by our conversation that she'd been out that morning, bought me several pairs of socks, and written an inspirational note to keep us going on our first day. Then, an hour later, I encountered a man of pretty modest means sifting pecans under a tree. We shared stories, ate a few pecans together. He got his wallet out and gave me everything he had. It was $4. I said, "Look, there is no way that I can take this." He looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, "Bill, it's so inspiring what you're doing. I'd give you more money if I could afford it. I can't take this back, and I wish you the best of luck on your journey." Every day I met people like this that provided that type of inspiration. It was unbelievable. By the end of the trip, we had met almost 200 people with connections to Parkinson's disease, some of whom had driven or flown hundreds or even thousands of miles just to walk with me. Neil Levin, who has Parkinson's disease and had just gotten back from the Mayo Clinic, he had knee replacement surgery, drove 200 miles not knowing where I was, just to shake my hand and say thank you. A woman surprised me at 7 a.m. on a lonely road, 32 degrees, in her robe. She had just had a double mastectomy, tubes still attached. Said she was so inspired by my story, she wanted to walk with me just to tell me she was going to try and run a marathon, something she always dreamed of trying. John Ball, the author, marathoner, and 20-year veteran of living with Parkinson's disease, took planes, trains, and automobiles just to walk with me into the finish. Online communities cropped up, like the support that I had from my current employer, the Pampered Chef, which resulted in hundreds of people virtually walking and running with me every day. This was incredibly inspirational. By the time I got to San Diego, there were over 50 people with me, some of whom were in wheelchairs and walkers. This had become so much bigger than me now. Now, what started out as this singular act of walking across the country became an incredible lesson for me about the importance of being open to failure and how finding your passion and pushing through boundaries can lead you to discover what you're truly capable of. Now, I failed to break the world record for running across the U.S. that Frank Giannino set in 1980. But I did complete the trek from Tybee Island, Georgia to San Diego in 67 days, averaging 39 miles a day, 1.5 marathons a day, without stopping back to back. And it turns out I may have the world record for walking across the U.S. Unbelievable. Guinness is reviewing it right now. In fact, I just got an email from them about an hour ago. They need more information. Shocking. But more importantly, we touched the lives of thousands of people with Parkinson's disease and created an amazing inspiration. We did over 50 media interviews touching tens of millions of people, creating incredible awareness. So my request of you is to find your passion and your path, regardless if you think you're going to fail, and give it a go. I guarantee you'll be successful beyond anything you can imagine right now. You might even change the world. We can all do a little bit more. Thank you very much.